Welcome everyone to the Outshine virtual LGBTQ Film Festival Q&A for the Men's Shorts program. We are so happy you're with us. We've got a ton of talent. My God, you guys just watched a lot of great shorts. And I have to tell you that we have so many of the actors, directors, writers, producers, you name it, they're here tonight to answer all your questions and a lot of mine and my wonderful associate, the treasurer of the Outshine Film Festival, Christopher Vastine. Chris, come on into the room with us. By the way, we are presented by Gilead in Miami-Dade County. Please help us remember our presenting sponsors. Because of them, we're able to bring you this wonderful festival and hopefully be around for years to come. So, Chris, what do you think? How'd you like the shorts program?
Oh, very much so, very much so. We had such a great lineup this afternoon for our men's shorts, as with all of our films. But you know, the thing that always strikes me, I don't know about you, Mark, is how each of these shorts. I mean, it's like it says, it's a short film, yet you know, they always draw you in so quickly, and you always feel like you just want to know more and more about what's going to happen to these characters. We had a really, I think, just a really fantastic lineup this year.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I think you're 100% right. And we'll talk to some of the filmmakers, but telling a story in 10, 15, 20 minutes that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and a compelling storyline in between is not an easy task to bring to life. And yet every one of the filmmakers tonight did an incredible job in doing that. And by the way, we do have, I think, 2 more shorts programs yet to come. This year we have 4 shorts programs. Personally, my favorite in the festival, I always look forward to the shorts program. Chris, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. We're always stronger when we come together as a community, and we have such great community in Miami and Fort Lauderdale and throughout Florida that help us to have a better life for each of us. And tonight is no different. We have the wonderful Lambda Living, who is an organization that does so much for our seniors. Can we roll their video, please?
Hi, I'm Cindy Brown. I'm the program manager for Lambda Living, which is Jewish Community Services program for LGBT seniors. Jewish Community Services has been doing programming for the LGBT community for almost 30 years and has a long-term commitment to the community. Jewish Community Services has a full array of programs that are culturally competent, sensitive, and appropriate for LGBTQ persons of any age. With the impact of COVID-19 that we experienced beginning in March, our virtual program was in the perfect place to be able to provide these resources and these activities and social interaction with those who are isolated at home at this time. If you're interested in getting involved with our LGBT programs, the phone number is 305-364-5319. You can also visit our website, jcsfl.org/lambda.
Two of my favorite, Lambda Living and of course Cindy Brown. Lambda Living does so much for our seniors community, and often underserved, overlooked part of our wonderful community. And it's great to know that as all of us age, not me, we're talking about other people, as all of us age, that there's an organization out there that'll be looking at on how to help us and enrich our lives and keep us as well as possible with a fulfilling life. So again, Cindy Brown, Lambda Living, thank you so much, Chris.
As I say, what an icon of our community as well. Cindy Brown has been like a member involved with the festival for years as well, right?
Cindy Brown was actually on our board of our festival, and she's been around for, I don't like to say a long time because she doesn't deserve to say anything that makes her any older than she is. And, but she's been an icon and a fabulous contributor. So real quickly, here's our housekeeping. We've got an incredible room of a lot of talent for the shorts, but the 2 shorts that couldn't make it tonight did do a little recording for us. So we're gonna run right in a row, Snake and Graffiti, and come back and introduce our talent in just a couple of minutes. Stay there.
Hello from France. I am Aurélien Laplace, the director of the short film The Graffiti. I am very happy to be part of the Outshine Film Festival, and I hope you will enjoy my short film The Graffiti. Bye bye, thank you.
Hi, my name is Andrei Volkashin. I'm the director of Snake, a short film from Macedonia. I'm very, very excited to be part of Outshine Film Festival, and really hope you will enjoy the film. One curious thing about the film is that the child actors in the film had never acted before, had never even been on a film set before. They're from a small town in Macedonia, much like the town where I grew up, and the film is slightly inspired by some things in my childhood. So it's a very personal work and one of my favorites.
Macedonia. I think it shows that short films as well as LGBTQ films come from all over the world, and boy, I'll tell you, there's just great talent everywhere. And believe it or not, there's gays everywhere. I was shocked to learn that. I thought we were only in Miami. Okay, guys, let's introduce the incredible talent from After That Party. Director Caio Scot and producer Caio. You there?
Actor.
You guys.
Actor.
And actor Lucas
Hello.
Drummond. Come on in, guys. Chris, you do the fall.
Great. Thanks so much. Great. Yeah. Well, what a wonderful story and film to watch. I guess kind of tell us what was the inspiration for the movie, and how was it shooting this film?
Do you want to answer it, Caio?
Yeah, you can start, Lucas.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to thank Outshine for having us this year, and also say that we're really honored to be here tonight at this virtual Q&A. So thank you for having us. So this film came actually from a desire that I had together with Mel Carvalho, which is the other screenwriter and the actress playing Carol in our film, because we wanted to actually portray a story of a coming out story of a man that is not a teenager, because we usually see coming out stories in which teenagers come out to their families, but we rarely see men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, or even 70s having to come out to their sons, to their families as well. So this film came from this wish of us to tell this story, this coming out story, the other way around. And there's also a little bit of a personal story inside, because by the time we were actually writing the script, I found out that my father was sick. He had cancer. And even though he knew I was gay, I never really talked about my sexuality or about my relationships with my father. So this desire to tell this coming out the other way around story got together with this need that I was having to connect with my father at that particular moment in my life. So we put this all together, and we came up with this story that was that we wanted to be a sweet and also a little bit funny story about a father coming out to his son.
Caio, I want to follow up on that with you, because it's interesting that juxtaposition you just threw in there. And you had a line in the film that paraphrase, basically, were you angry with your dad because he was gay, or because he didn't come to you and tell you he was gay? And just as a pause, I could tell you that when I came out, my brother-in-law actually called me up, my brother-in-law, the wife of the brother of my wife, and said, "How could you not tell me?" He was mad that I didn't tell him, and that line kind of resonated with me. How did he not know a girlfriend? I mean, but anyway, I think the point I wanted, how about in your personal life that you, using that line in the film, couldn't tell your own father?
Yeah. First of all, as Lucas said, it's an honor for us to be here tonight. Thank you. And that was a very, very interesting point of the screenplay when Lucas and Nel showed me. So the point that the movie is not about making a question of the homosexuality of the father, but in the movie we would deal with the trust. It's about like this son dealing with this father not telling him he was gay. So I think that things happens when maybe somebody think that you all you believed before was a lie before you saying you are gay. So I think that's very very beautiful, this part of the movie when the father say to Liu that he was that his past life was not a lie. He loved his wife. So I think it's important to like this part of the movie when the father tell this to you, and I think it's a very very beautiful way to deal with that situation.
Yeah, I just really liked just to kind of add on that, just more of a comment, but that so much we see with with LGBTQ film that is it's about the relationship, like the intimate relationship between the couple or the partners, and I think it's even in that short, like it's like 15-20 minutes that we see this evolution of the relationship between, I guess it's Leo and his dad, and just the intimacy that they had as well.
Yeah, that's exactly the point that we wanted to portray, actually. We wanted this story to be a sweet story about trust. And the whole thing that actually annoys Leo during the film, or his whole conflict, is about why didn't his father tell him about it? Like, we had a good relationship. We had this sort of openness, so that my father could actually trust his secret on me. So he's actually, his whole conflict is not that he doesn't accept his father, because he accepts his father from the first place on, but for the first moment on. But the thing is that he is worried that his father didn't trust him that much in order to tell him to disclose his sexuality to Leo. And this is what I think it's the most beautiful aspect about this story, and what I like the most about this film.
Lucas, Kyle, I'll ask both of you this question. So the film opens up. Obviously, you're in a nightclub. At least my takeaway was that you were obviously gay, and you were in some kind of a gay nightclub. And so, was it your intention to open up to kind of put the spotlight on you? And oh my God, I'm thinking, oh, there's his ex-lover with another guy. At least that was the premise that I took away from those opening moments. And of course, you don't find out till a little later. How did you play that? And was that a part of the directive?
Yeah, that's my question too. I love that surprise moment there. Yeah, please.
So I think it's this kind of plot twist is it's kind of a joke in the film, because we had heard this comment like several times before, and usually people start watching the film and they think that it's going to be about Leo, and it's actually not about Leo. It's actually about his father. So and there's this interesting point in the screenplay and in the film itself, is that many of the people who actually see the film, they come up with a question that is Leo also gay? Because we don't actually say anything about that. We leave that in the air. And many of the people who actually watched the film before, they said, I thought he was also gay. I thought he could also be gay. And this is something this is a question we don't actually respond, because I mean, for us, he's not gay, but he could also be gay, and that's fine. So I think this kind of plot twist, this kind of joke that we do when the film starts, in which we switch the conflict that people actually thought it would be about Leo, and we switch it to be about the father, is something that people actually like about the film, and it's something that happens that brings the audience with us a little bit, I think.
What was your favorite scene shooting? What was your favorite scene to shoot in the film?
I think
my favorite
for Luke.
Oh, Caio, please, you go.
No, I think for me, the scene I like most is the last scene with Lucas and I think that's very beautiful, and um, I really like the way things happens in the last scene. With we can see like the friendship and also the love they feel for each other, and I like this moment of discovery of the father knowing, like, I think they open to each other, the father and the son. So I like this scene very much, the last scene of the movie.
Okay, guys, stay right there. We're going to come back to you in just a little bit. We'll have more questions for you, but we want to get the rest of our talent in. Next, let's bring into the room from the fall, the lead producer, CJ Welsh, and the director, writer, Shannon Anderson. Hi, how are you guys?
Hi.
Hi.
So your movie, where was it taking place? Where did it actually take place?
Well, we're in Australia, so we filmed it in and around the western suburbs of Melbourne.
But it was Australia, because that tough father scene. I love the way the father raised his son, and I love the tenderness of the son, yet he looked like such a tough guy. How when you were writing that, how much of that came into what you were trying to, how much of that when you were writing it came into the actual production value?
The dynamic between the father and the son.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, he was a hard character to cast, mainly because he has such a short part to play, and a lot of actors want a bigger slice of cake. But he the guy that we found, he was awesome, and he was just really passionate about it. And he had this, it was interesting because I think it showed on screen that he looked really tough and kind of mean, and he was covered in tats. But he was genuinely the most lovely guy. And he kept coming up to me and being like, "Oh, thank you so much. I'm so enjoying being a part of this film." And it was such a small role to play, but he took it in his hands as if it was this massive role, and that it was the most important part of the film. And I think if actors take that on, it reflects in the film, and it plays well.
One of my favorite things about the movie was that you had this kind of hardcore boxer who doesn't really you don't interpret, you don't normally see sentimentality like you might in a character like that. You normally see toughness and an outside very mean demeanor, but yet he had this incredible sensitivity. And I love the way you use the notes to kind of pass on the emotions between the two of them without saying a lot. Talk about that character for a minute and how it was writing for him and also directing and producing for him.
Yeah, so Asher is played by Michael Shanahan, who does...
Shannon, you're a bit quiet.
There you go.
Volume. I think we've lost your mic, mate.
My mic?
No, we've lost
Shannon.
It's okay. We always have just one or two little things that happen.
Standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little better. Yeah, just talk loud.
Okay, I'll yell.
Yeah, there you go.
So Asher is played by Michael Shanahan, and he's another character. I think it was pretty consistent throughout the film and in the casting, is these people that look kind of tough, and their personality is this soft kind of teddy bear, which reflects what we were trying to explore in the film. The original idea was taking something that is typically presented as brutal and harsh and aggressive, and actually present it as this kind of dance and make it soft and delicate. Which is something that, as someone who's done boxing, in conversations with other boxers, that's the way that they choose to describe boxing, which is reading your opponent and moving and gentle and soft and reactive, rather than people who maybe aren't as involved in the sport take it as this, well, it's just two brutes, trying to beat each other up. And so those that are more connected to the sport take it as this more delicate description. So for Michael, he just really understood how we were trying to present boxing, and the juxtaposition we were trying to play with, and he killed it.
CJ, same kind of question to you. How was it? What did you have to do to bring that character to life, because I don't think we've seen a lot of really tough, hardcore characters like that have such a soft, sentimental inside. What was your goal as a director to bring that to life?
Well, so actually, I'm the producer of it, so I can't take full credit for that. Shannon did most of the work, if not all the work, in terms of bringing that character to life. But what I will say is that from the producer's perspective, that the nature of what she was trying to do with that script is what drew me to it. So the idea that I've worked on a boxing film previously that didn't quite get up, and it's so easy to turn that into it's two dudes bashing each other for glory. And when you get into boxing and you actually understand it a bit more, you realize that's really not what's happening. There's a lot more to it. And so to be able to explore, sexual identity and also the nature of a sport like that, turn it into something really, really fascinating to me. So yeah, I think Shannon did an amazing job in terms of pulling that character out. But I will say again, like as she described for the bloke who played the father, it was actually really fascinating to watch this guy look so sort of tough and intimidating in those gym clothes. But then as soon as we cut, he was like, "How was that? Was that good?" Like so genuinely lovely and sweet. And it's fascinating to watch them sort of turn it on and still somehow be vulnerable in that moment while doing these, and like they really did practice sparring. And, we had, we shot that in a real boxing gym, and we had the owner coach them through some maneuvers and things that they could be doing in the lead up to the shoot. And even on the day, they were getting tips on like, how would you stand? And it was great to watch them sort of embrace that and bring that into the character while still maintaining that vulnerability. That was really cool.
Shannon,
hey, Mark, if I could jump in. Yeah, if I could jump in. Yeah, I mean, I love the film. And yeah, I think, first of all, I have to ask you, what time is it where you are right now? It must be very early or late right now.
It's not that early, actually. It's 9:40 a.m. for us. Standard work day for us.
Okay, good. Well, we appreciate you being on. I don't want to ask the question. It probably sounds maybe obvious as the producer, the writer, but the fall. What actually is the fall? Because there's multiple moments where I thought, well, maybe is it about him falling in love? Is it about their relationship falling apart? Is it about, or even like that, kind of with the opening scenes where they talk about like the idea of that, the difference in fighting style. Whether if you're protective, like you never win, but if you are vulnerable and you go out after it, you can win, but then you also can, that's where the greatest hurt can happen as well. So I'd just be curious to hear where the name, where does that resonate for you in the film?
The fall came from, as you said, it was the whole kind of metaphor of the film is that in the sport of boxing and in relationships, you can stay guarded, but nothing's going to happen. You're not going to win, you're not going to get anywhere, and you're not going to progress. And so it's the same with relationships. You can stay guarded, but then you're kind of left with just standing there. But the fall came from, I was just reflecting on this idea of falling in love. And I felt like you don't really fall in love, because in the process of that happening, you feel really euphoric and it's almost like you're lifted up and you're flying. But the sense of your gut falling out of your body and the sense of falling seems to happen once you're falling out of love and you're losing whatever it is that you had. So the fall is, it's basically telling you at the very beginning that this is a breakup story, but only maybe after you reflect on it for a bit.
Yeah. The odd moment though is, if I recall, the very last scene though is him, I think it's like a flashback where he actually finds the letter again in the book. I didn't really realize it the first time, because is it a love note he finds in his science book, or he's handing him the science book at the end, I think.
Yeah, he leaves. It flashes back to their first real kind of interaction.
Right.
And so it's because the film is kind of presented as this a memory, it's very circular, so it just keeps kind of going back to the beginning, and the importance of those kind of first moments.
Right. I mean, what ends up being, it's kind of a sad movie, but it ends sort of, because he has that flashback, it ends up like that hopeful moment too.
Yeah, that's all going to start all over again.
Yeah, it's a civic circle.
As the writer, I'm sorry, go ahead, finish.
Oh no, I was just going to ask if CJ had anything to say about that, but no, you lead this Q&A.
We're thousands of miles apart. We're allowed little delays here. So a quick question. First of all, as a writer and director, you get to really bring everything to life. that you write, you know. So here's this one scene that kind of blew me away. Asher, I think Asher is the tough guy. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So Asher's describing his body and it is in the most sensual and sexual kind of terms, and he's describing the person that he's in love with and how he thinks about him. When you wrote that, how hard was that to bring to light?
It wasn't that difficult because I started at the beginning of the film to try, in terms of the process of writing it. The thing that I wanted to do was take something that was typically presented as this brutal masculinity and make it into something that's more delicate, sensual, and loving. And so I knew that I needed to do that thing, and I knew that I needed those two elements, and I knew that they could coexist. And so I just kept kind of coming back to that metaphor of this, the fight, and that you can use the same kind of terminology to describe a brutal boxing match and a relationship. And so I just kept kind of coming back to the point I wanted to make and the juxtaposition I wanted to present.
Terrific. Okay, stay right where you are. We're going to come right back to you in just a little bit. We want to get our other films in. Next, from Don't Frighten the Horses, Nels Christensen, who's the sound design mixer, Jonathan Joon Kim, he's the lead actor, Derek, Alicia Wilson, who's the woke woman, and Joe Dellapina, the judgmental woman. Also, Yannis Zafeirious, who's the director, producer, and editor, Josh Allen Goldman, screenwriter, and lead actor, Jesse. Come on in, guys.
Hi.
You guys all in? So this was a very, I always wonder what it would be like to be at a place where people could read your thoughts. It's happened to me over and over. Can they hear what I'm thinking right now? Or especially when you see somebody that's hot, I've imagined exactly what your scene was about and how you were able to portray it 1,000 times, praying no one was really listening to me because I'd probably be arrested. So talk about the creation of your film and what you were trying to accomplish.
Do you want to start?
Yeah.
Well, obviously it's a documentary. No, it's not.
Basically, Yanni and I were in New York, and when we live in Los Angeles, very much in this bubble. We don't live in West Hollywood, but all of Los Angeles is kind of accepting. We walk wherever we want. We were in New York, and we were walking on Central Park South, holding hands, and we were like harassed and accosted by this man, sort of aggressively asking why we were holding hands, and it put us in a really strange place for the rest of our trip there, and ended up with us texting each other a lot of what we were thinking instead of saying it to each other.
What were you thinking? What were you thinking?
Well, we were very self-conscious about ourselves, and we had thoughts, and
So basically, like whenever we were like standing, on the subway, we would just text each other like, love you or thinking about you or whatever, rather than just saying it.
Rather than holding hands again.
Right.
So.
Just saying like, I want to hold like that, the whole, how it starts, I want to hold your hand. That was something that we had texted each other. And it kind of, I took down notes for it. I just kind of like journaled about what the experience was like and didn't really think about it for a while. And then Yanni wanted to make a movie out of it. So we decided to make it into a movie.
Chris, have you ever been in a situation where like you were hoping somebody wasn't listening to your thoughts?
I don't know if I've been so lucky, but right.
So, all right. So now there's a big leap between being in Central Park and kind of getting a little bit of hassle for holding hands and then making a film of the magnitude that you did. So talk about that a little bit. Let's hear how you came to actually doing the film.
If I could just intervene.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, so I think maybe it's more of a lead off of Mark's first question. So I know this might be repetitious based off the previous interview, but the name as well, did that have to do with that incident, or what was the "Don't Frighten the Horses"? Like, where did that come from?
"Don't Frighten the Horses" is a very famous line that her name was Mrs. Patrick Campbell. I think her full name was Beatrice Rose Tanner. She lived at the turn of the century as an actor. And she was approached by somebody else working in the theater to give some gossip about this older actor potentially having these romantic feelings about another male actor. And that was very, shocking at the time. And what she said, does it really matter what these affectionate people do so long as they don't do it in the streets and frighten the horses? So when we were, coming up with a way of visualizing this film and writing it, for me, it was an obvious title to sort of rebel against that notion of not having public displays of affection.
Just the sort of, I think as queer people, we're always code switching and always being hyper aware of our surroundings. And sometimes we slip up. And I think when that happens, there's a natural recourse of almost hyper correcting and reverting back into the shame of our childhoods.
So I love the simplicity of how you shot it. I guess if I remember right, outside a subway station or with a backdrop.
A bus stop.
Yeah, and you can't escape the diversity that you were showcasing. You brought in a little bit of everybody. Was that intentional so that we all realize
my favorite scene was actually the one.
Well, definitely bringing in a diverse cast. We want to represent the world we live in. And, this is an experience that everyone has.
But it also came together as always. When we put the casting notice out and we had the rules, the people who submitted for it, the first person, the people you chose you see in the film are the people we chose because we just loved them. They were immediately, we saw the characters in their faces, not to insult Joe, who plays the more powerful character. But I knew she could go there and talk about that character a little bit. But yeah, we just saw everyone and thought they would be perfect for the roles that we had in mind.
So let's talking about the characters, actually, I'd love to hear. I know we have 3 of the actors here, so maybe, well, actually 4 is actually, sorry about that. I know that Josh, we've been talking to, but maybe Jonathan, Alicia, and Joe, we could just have you each go round one by one, just kind of tell us a little bit about your character and what you thought of them, and then Josh as well, because you obviously the center character as well.
Jonathan, you want to start?
Sure. Hi, thanks for having us. I'm Jonathan, but I took Derek as the kind of I guess the less afraid character of the two because he's the love interest, and I decided to go with a character that was less afraid of what the public would think and more afraid of what Josh's character would think. And so he's coming from a shy place and not necessarily from a place of trying to hide himself. And so eventually when he leaves the bus stop, I follow him because I think there's a connection and I want that to be there regardless of what other people might think. So I think I play the other side to this.
And Josh, how about the other side? The other side.
Jesse is very much based just kind of on myself. I think he wants love. That's his main thing, but sometimes he's his own, greatest enemy because of his own anxieties. And yeah, that's my
Alicia,
perspective.
Joe, how about you guys?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I love reading. So my character is reading, and
I saw the book you were reading too.
Yeah, it's actually Yanni's book, but people are so judgmental of everything. They're judgmental of your sexuality, your race, even what you're reading. Like I'll be reading something on the airplane, and I feel like people are looking at me like, "Oh, is this a self-help book or something really aggressive or nationalist?" Something that people are just afraid of things they don't know about. So I liked that role because I kind of related to that. And it's interesting. Yanni, I didn't remember that happened in New York, because places like Los Angeles or New York, they're supposed to be so liberal, and we forget that there are people everywhere that just aren't accepting. So yeah, I was really happy to be a part of it. I related to it a lot. Yeah.
Jonathan.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying, Alicia, was what my character was reacting to. Is she is terrified. She's terrified of change. She's been hurt by men, and so now when she sees two men in love, it's like two more that don't like me. She's terrified. She's selfish.
Haven't we all?
Yes, we've all been there.
Yeah.
I promise you, I was playing against type. I promise. My character, look at her face. Just hates equal opportunity hater.
None of you knew each other in the scene, in the actual film itself. Were you all strangers, or were you supposed to kind of know each other?
Most of us were. In the scene, we're all strangers.
Yeah.
But most of us actors were also strangers.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've known Joe for a while, but everyone else basically met on the day.
Actually, they met on the day they recorded their lines, because we recorded the voiceover lines before we shot the film. And I want to say kudos to the incredible cast, because yes, we had written a script, but a lot of what you see in the finished film actually is improvisations from the amazing actors and their characters, and what they chose to do on the day when we asked them to go deeper into the characters and share what they think other inner thoughts would occur beyond what we just wrote on the page. And we ended up rewriting the script based off on what they did and what they came up with, which was incredible, I think.
I don't know.
Great. To that end, I'd love to hear from Nels actually for a second. I mean, it's what an interesting project to be. I mean, I guess the sound is obviously a huge part of any movie, but particularly in this one here, because like the people aren't actually talking to each other. And I don't know, I'm more of a comment, but just certainly any other feedback or any thoughts that you want to have, like what was this project like for you?
Absolutely. Thank you for acknowledging sound as being important. That's a frustrating thing we always have to deal with audio people is they sort of, we hear the, leave it for post comment a lot, especially because a lot of people don't understand sound, so it just gets forgotten. But Yanni and Josh, I will say, with their directing style, at least when it comes to post, they've been amazing, because they sort of just let me do whatever crazy thing I want, and I can get my creative juices flowing, and I can just sort of get into the moment of it. And they say, just go for whatever you want, and we kind of trust you. And then they come and watch it and say, all right, Nels, you went a little crazy. Let's rein it in a little bit. And then we kind of meet in this happy middle, but I get the chance to really have some creativity there, and I get to make something my own in a field that I'm comfortable.
Can you be like more explicit? Like can you be more, as much as you can say, but can you be more explicit about sort of maybe how you maybe went more to extreme, and then how to be brought back in like this, just so we can see what that sounds like, no pun intended.
Yeah, so one kind of classic way is music. I will go and I'll be like, oh, this is an emotional scene. Let's just drive the music hard right here. Or maybe I think, oh, let's pull the music back right here. And that's where I think, me personally, I get into kind of extremes, because I'm like, let's just push the emotion, let's just drive it. Or I'll sort of, with audio, you can make things, sound effects, hyper realistic, and it's a way to kind of more than put you into a moment as a viewer. You can, the footsteps can suddenly draw a bunch of attention and or crowd noises around. You can make the scene feel very confusing or lost. So it's moments like that that go to extremes.
Great sound effects for you.
Yeah, this isn't even a very sound effects heavy movie, which is also beautiful in itself because it's so simple that the parts you want to do, you can really work on them and get those right.
Was there a difference, like when I'm not technical enough to know, but was there a difference in the quality of like the characters when they're like thinking versus when I guess Derek and Derek and Josh meet at the end, or Jesse's brother meet at the end? Is there a difference in the quality of the sound that you had there?
There is, yeah. That's something we battle with all the time. So essentially, they gave me ADR type sounds. It's recorded in a bedroom. I'm not sure where they recorded it, but they gave me something that's kind of classic of lower budgets. That's hey, this is what we got. Let's give it to you. And then through lots of software that I invest in, let's clean it up and make it basically as quiet as possible. And get it in there. What's nice about is that we didn't have to lip sync and ADR, just the style of it was nice. So sometimes when you lip sync and do stuff like that, you're trying to stretch the audio here or there. We didn't have to do any of that. I was able to work on stuff without distortion and stuff like that, which was really nice. The intersection, the live stuff that they did shoot on set, it was very noisy because they're in the middle of Hollywood, I guess. They're in the middle of there's some side street in Hollywood, which has still got cars honking and dump trucks rolling. And that was a little bit of a challenge, but honestly, it's sort of okay to leave some of those sounds in there because it just sort of fits the film, so it wasn't too much of a problem really. But yeah, there is a difference, absolutely. I'm trying to recreate what was missing in the live for the ADR section, essentially.
Jonathan, a quick last question for you. You read the script, and it's kind of an interesting dichotomy in that you have to act certain parts and you have to think certain parts. How was that to actually act in?
So to me, I took it as everything that is being heard is actually in Jesse's mind. And that's probably what makes him feel so insecure about it. So I just went with, this guy looks really cute. I wonder if he likes me. And then I decided to, hold glances here and there, or, nervously chew my lip to make it look sexual, but it's actually not. So kind of stuff like that. I just, whatever made sense for me in the moment of like, can he hear my thoughts or can he not? So I made that choice.
I want to hear everybody just real quickly. How was it playing a character that you're not actually uttering the words? You don't have to act to the words. Girls, go ahead, everybody.
Yeah, it's cool. I love the voiceover only. It's kind of, like Avenue Q with the puppets. You can push the envelope because you wouldn't maybe say things out loud. Like maybe Joe wouldn't say that to me or to Jonathan's character. So I like the ADR only because you can just say whatever you're thinking and be comfortable in your thoughts. And it makes you more comfortable. That character's more comfortable. And then therefore the actor's more comfortable because you're not in your own head, which is bad. We're not supposed to do that. But I love the voiceover only.
Terrific.
Great. Well, Mark, I don't know that I think this group may have the prize for the most people attending in this, we've gotten in a short film. So we're really, really thankful and appreciative of all of them. I think we've covered everyone, Mark, but thank you so much for everyone. It's just a really wonderful discussion there.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Love
I
it.
love the film. We love the film.
Stay there. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in touch with you guys in just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
So our next film is The Act, and we have with us director Thomas Hescott, producer Electra Peasy, and the director of photography, or as we say in Hollywood, the DOP, Chris Ferguson. Hey guys, how are you? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi there.
So the biggest thing about this, and I want to talk to Electra about it, is that I heard in the intro that this was originally a play. Is that correct?
It was, exactly. It was a
play. You wrote the
that
play, I'm assuming, or you were.
The play was written by Tom Scot and
Okay.
another writer together, and they have adapted it with a third writer called Pete Lawson into a short film. It's probably Tom, the best person to talk to you about the play.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you real quickly though. How did the movie differ than the play, from the play?
Tom?
All right, I'll
either of you, all of you can answer it.
I'll answer that because I think yeah. So I mean, the play was a one-man play, so it differs because there are more than one person in the film. Says that it's a but I think the story is pretty much the same throughout. We slightly sort of tweak the ending, and there's also some modern day bits in the play, but it's pretty much the same story throughout. And it was fun. I think for us, it was fun to see that world come to life, the sort of stories and things that are in the play, to sort of see those characters and to see that world was the sort of most exciting thing.
I have to say that I was wondering, at least from the opening scene where you went from the devout church and everything to the next kind of really mega gay scene, that transitional scene in the beginning, I was wondering how it was different doing that, in a theater performance as opposed to a movie, and which one came off and brought it more to life, or was it just different?
I think it was just different. The play, we didn't, obviously we're not juxtaposing those words with those images. That's the really fun thing about the film, is that we can take all the voiceover you hear is real. It's documentary words from the Houses of Parliament. So those are words that real politicians spoke in the 1960s when debating decriminalising homosexuality. And what's really fun is being able to juxtapose those words of those British politicians with the reality of that world. And obviously on stage, we didn't have that juxtaposition quite so clearly. I don't know, I like them both, but obviously the film we've done more recently, so I'm sort of slightly more kind of hooked on the film now than I was on the play. Was almost a decade ago, so it's sort of in the distant sort of realms of my memory now.
Thomas, I commend you, because the way you were able to bring out the innocence of that character, the naivety of that character, the struggle of that character, and you'll forgive me, I forget his name, but what he was going through in a time where it was so forbidden and you felt like you were just lower than garbage for being gay. You brought out this incredible innocence of love, beauty, and struggle. How did you do it?
Well, thank you, first of all, and lots of credit should go to Sam Barnett, the actor who plays that role, who's an astonishing actor, probably known for most people for playing Dirk Gently on Netflix, but has also been nominated for Tony Awards, and I've worked with him several times, and he obviously brings a huge amount that, a lot of that's down to him. And when we started writing that character again years ago, myself and the original co-writer, we used a lot of our own experiences in there from being young before we came out. And so we sort of didn't get too hooked on the period of the 1960s, but on what we went through as sort of teenagers, which I think helped because it grounded in our sort of own reality. So I think a lot of it was down to that, and then Sam's performance.
Yeah, and is that the year 19? It took place in the 60s.
Yeah. So the homosexuality, acts of male homosexuality were decriminalised in 1967, and this film set in the House of Commons speeches and things we're using were early 60s. So the film's about 1965.
Well, I was just a baby in the 60s. Don't say anything. Don't. So, you can't help but, even in the annals of the journals of psychology in the mid 80s, homosexuality was considered a form of retardation. And we look today at how incredible and vibrant our lives are. And yes, we still have a long way to go. But I want to go back. You brought the church into it a lot. You brought in this hardcore relationship. Was it really important for you to talk about how the struggles and the the opinions of being gay back then?
Yeah, I mean, when we started with the play, the commission we'd been given was something that explored counterculture, and we were very interested in a counterculture where the counterculture of the 60s specifically, a counterculture where people are thrust into that culture not out of choice but out of necessity, and it was really key for us as well to juxtapose that underground world of the bars and cottaging with what was being said publicly by politicians. So it was really important to kind of get that balance and to use the words of the time specifically.
Okay, Mark, if I could, that's great. Mark, if I could just jump in, and one thing that really strikes me about the movie is, I guess I'm not a filmmaker, but just the different imagery and some of the stunning shots and just the coloring and everything. And especially since we have our director of photography here, I would love to kind of hear a little bit about what was that like shooting it? Kind of was it intentional, or the quality? Was there anything that you were going for in particular with that?
Thank you. Yeah. It was just an amazing challenge and opportunity to have to, bring 1960s London to life is not something you get to do very often. So it was obviously a really, really amazing challenge to have. And there was a very clear character arc that Matthews goes through. And, we had ways that we were mirroring that with the lighting, and, he descends into this underground bar where, his whole world comes to life. So Tom had given me images from sort of 1960s Technicolor films to match to. So it was really just an amazing challenge. And we had wonderful costume designer who was fantastic, an amazing cast of characters. So yeah, it was just a wonderful challenge, really. Yeah.
It almost had a 35 mil feel to it,
it sadly wasn't shot on film, but we shot on a really beautiful Panavision camera and lenses, and really worked hard and had an amazing team of people who all brought that look together. But that was definitely the plan, was to make it feel a part of that time. And I think I'm really proud of what we achieved with it. Yeah.
Electra, when you first saw the script, what did you think?
It absolutely blew me away. It was great. I read also the play alongside just before reading the script for the screenplay. The characters were just so vivid and so different from each other, and you don't really know how their love story is going to go in the end, but that's not the point. The point is their journey of transformation throughout the film, and Matthew's discovery and Jimmy's discovery, which is completely different. And I love period drama, and shooting in the 60s was something I was really, really keen to do.
The ending angered me a little bit. I would have rather he just like walked up and kicked them in the you know what, but that's me. That's why I'm not a screenwriter.
The ending does divide people. Some people love it, and some people have said what you said, and I quite like that. I like that. No, that there's no clear, hero or villain, that you're that it's complicated, because relationships. I think where there's hope. There is a reason for that ending, which isn't the same as the play, which is we didn't want to end with any kind of misery porn. We didn't want to show gay characters as victims, and we wanted to show some hope at the end of it. But it is complicated. I think the reason it works is because they've both been through this journey. They're under no illusions now. They've stripped away any kind of pretense, and so they're seeing each other as real people for the first time, as opposed to the visions of what they want each other to be.
Right. Thomas, I forgot if you said this already, but I guess Mr. Matthews is the main. That's how he identifies himself. Is he was it based off a true character, like a real life person, or is it just kind of a fictional adaptation? Or
no, I suppose there's possibly a little bit of Peter Wildblood in there, who's from the 50s, who was a very famous. Was he a civil servant? I can't remember. It was a very, very famous case in this country of a kind of member of the establishment who went to prison. So there's a little bit of that him in there. There was a bit of both of us as writers in there. Obviously, we weren't born in the 60s, but our own lives. Edna May, who's one of the characters, was very, very specifically kind of based on the naked civil servant. But obviously, we then, when we cast Cyril in that part, that then changed it and gave him a whole new backstory. And he was sort of based on the naked civil servant, and as well, there's a few people that Matthew had heard of, who's one of the writers, who were all. There was someone who called themselves Edna May and worked in a big department store in London. So that was a sort of amalgamation of different people.
Well, I hope that a lot of younger people get to see your film, because you do show a time that was almost yesterday, about a life that a lot of people can't even believe existed. And today, like I said earlier, it's so easy to be gay. But on that note, let's bring back in all of our guests tonight, and maybe we can start with that conversation, because LGBTQ film is, I think, are we bringing everybody back in now? David, why don't we pop into gallery mode and everybody can see everybody. Okay, I think I have gallery mode, and anybody that doesn't, just click gallery mode in your upper right-hand corner and you'll be able to see. You know, one of the things that, of course, one of the reasons that I do what I do and I'm involved in an organization like an LGBTQ plus film festival is because I think the stories are so important. There is no one person that's LGBTQ. It's what every one of you tried to portray in what you've done in the various films. And the characters are all so diverse and so different, and they do replicate a cross-section of our community, of our world. Let's talk a little bit about what each of you wanted to accomplish to show the diversity and breadth of the LGBT community. And anybody that wants to speak, go ahead and we'll cut you off if you cut each other off. Come on, the actors are not shy, and you guys aren't shy. Anybody that wants to take it, go.
So I'll start.
Thanks.
I guess, and I've seen that pretty much in the message of each film and each filmmaker that is here today. I think that we wanted to give people a little bit of hope, and especially right now with this whole situation that we're living, I think this is what people are searching for.
Nightmare or did you mean nightmare or situation?
Yeah. I mean, I tried to be a little soft here, but you can play. So especially right now in Brazil, things are really crazy. I know that in some places in the United States, things are getting a little better, in Europe as well, but we are living pretty much, it's a nightmare here in Brazil as well. So I think people are in need of hope, and especially our community. I think if we can tell our stories and deliver this hope to people and value freedom, respect, love, acceptance, then we manage to put like people together. I think we really need to be even more united as a community right now. So I think this is what we try to deliver, and I hope we manage to do a little bit of that.
And one thing that Lucas told me once, and for me, like I remember, is that like we as part of the LGBTQ community, I think it's important for us to make movies that talks about LGBTQ plus community. So I think that's a really nice way of thinking of making movies. So Lucas told me once, and that holds in my mind right now.
I love it.
Yeah, speaking of love, I just wanted to jump in here. We have a couple comments from the chat box. So it looks like congrats Shannon and CJ. Very pleased the fall is doing so well for you. And then a comment, I swear this wasn't Mark that wrote this, but I think it may be, or maybe someone else, says, I love shorts, great program. I think, let's see here if we got any more. Great, so I think we're good, so keep on going.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw that that comment from on there from a guy named Ant. I just wanted to point out, there's a little bit of bias there. He actually did our sound mix.
Oh, good. Okay.
He's our sound mixer, and he's tuned in to watch, so that's great.
One of my
Yeah.
favorite.
Oh, and then we just have one reminder: if you guys are using your phones, just make sure you have it in not vertically but horizontally, so we see your full face.
Hey, one of my favorite films is actually from Down Under by Grant Scolia, and I can't. Oh my God, he's going to kill me for not remembering. It was one of the best films that I think we've shown at our Outshine Film Festival, and it'll come to me in just a minute. But how about more conversation on just what it feels, what's the importance of producing LGBTQ plus film, and what you guys hope how you hope your film resonates with people going forward.
I think it's all about representation. It's about seeing different people on screen and not just versions of ourselves, but versions of everyone we see around us. People that we see on the street where we live. And I think that's very important because you never know who's going to watch a film. You never know with the internet and virtual festivals such as Outshine, you don't know who's going to watch your film. I mean, who hasn't had an opportunity to see it. And having that opportunity, I think, is very important for people to see themselves and to see who is out there into the world. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in like a lot of traditional Los Angeles LGBTQ film, even within a diverse group, many films end up casting the same people or the same versions of the same people. And what we wanted to do is really cast a wide net and show the beauty of our community, of our city, which is often left in the background and not really depicted. So
Okay, let's find out what all of you got going on. Everybody knows that when you're doing films, you're on to your next project as soon as the last one's done, whether you're a screenwriter, whether you're a director, producer, or an actor. So let's start with after that party, Caio and Lucas, what do you got going on going forward?
Caio, do you want to start?
Unmute.
Yes. We have a project together, me and Lucas. We have a new short movie for next year. We were planning to do this year, but like this times right now, in the pandemic, we couldn't do, but we are planning to do in 2021. And we also, if you want, Lucas, want to talk more about that project.
So we're actually turning After That Party into a feature because many of the festivals we were at, many people actually said that they wanted to see more about this relationship between the two friends, Leo and Carol, and between Leo and his father. So this is going to be a huge adventure for us during the following 3 or 4 years. So let's hope in the future we manage to have the film, the feature screening at Outshine as well. And I'm also, as an actor, I'm also in a TV show called He, She, They. It's a show from HBO, and it's actually the first TV series in Brazil to have a non-binary person as a lead character. So it's a very important initiative. It's a show about non-binary people, about trans people. We have 35% of the cast is played by trans people and trans and non-trans characters. So it's a huge initiative, and I'm very, very proud to be in this project. I guess in the United States, it's screening through HBO Max, I guess, or something like that. But it's an HBO series.
Wonderful. Well, good luck to you guys, and thank you for giving your film to the Outshine LGBTQ Film Festival, our first virtual edition. And hopefully we're going to look forward to that next one and having you come in. Hopefully this whole
Yeah.
thing will be over. How about from the fall, CJ Welsh and Shannon Anderson? Tell us what you got going on.
I'll let Shannon go first. She's probably got more interesting stuff happening.
I don't know about that. Well, both CJ and I are in Melbourne, so we're in stage 4 lockdown at the moment. So we can't do a whole lot, but I'm collaborating with a couple of other friends of mine that I went to film school with, and we're hopefully going to shoot a very short film as soon as these restrictions are lifted, if they're lifted. And otherwise, just kind of this year is a bit strange. It's been a year of a lot of screenwriting and kind of taking note of ideas and consolidating things that stories I've wanted to tell for a long time, and kind of figuring out if the story's there yet. But otherwise, I don't really have anything concrete. I work in television for one of our major broadcasters, so that's been keeping me busy. And yeah, I guess next year, if COVID is something behind us, then maybe I'll have something more interesting to say.
Look up Grant Scotia. He did the film, by the way, now I remember, from Australia, is Downriver. It's either New Zealand or Australia, but he's
we're basically the same place.
I
so.
know.
Yeah, same.
Talented guy. CJ, how about yourself?
I have 2 short films that are supposed to be shooting in the next 2 months, but that entirely depends on whether or not the world continues to end. So if we get back into stage 3 or 2 restrictions, I'll probably shoot both of those. I've got 2 feature films that are in very early
LGBTQ LGBT.
One of them is. The other one is much more of a, I guess you'd call it a biopic. And from what I understand, the main character is definitely a cis white guy, but it's, I think, still a story worth telling. But the other one definitely is a LGBTQI film. It's actually about a young Indigenous kid, so I'm working with an Indigenous writer on that one at the moment. And yeah, we're hoping to get some development funding for that once COVID eases up and we can actually start getting screen funding underway.
Good. Don't forget the Outshine Film Festival when it comes out. We want to premiere your film. Hey, from Don't Frighten the Horses, Nels, Jonathan, Alicia. Well, I'll do it in order. How about this? Nels, you go first. What's going on with you?
Oh boy, this time period is a sensitive subject because, yeah, like the Australians just said, everything's kind of in lockdown. So I had some network shows that were gonna come my way. I was gonna edit them from some studios in Burbank. But when we went on restrictions, all that dried up just immediately. You know, it was impressive to see how quickly that folded. And actually, as a freelance audio engineer, I haven't really been getting anything. So it's hard to say I'm actively working on something. But been doing some home videos that we filmed when I was 13 or so. So I edited those together. My dad's really happy. So that's been fun to like go back memory lane. But essentially that's it. I'm kind of waiting for things to kick back up in gear.
You know, fingers crossed for you, for sure.
Thank you.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I am actually an actor, singer, dancer, and I originally come from the musical theater world, and I'm transitioning over to screen acting. And I mean, right before pandemic hit, I was gonna be doing a production of Newsy here, and then like literally the day when we were gonna be like doing a photo shoot for the poster, we got a text and they're like, hey, everything's closing down, so we can't legally do a photo shoot anymore. And since then, it's just been kind of surviving. As a dancer, it's really weird because there's so much about the art of dancing that is social, and it's about nearness and being with people, and not being able to even just go to a club and get really drunk and sit in the corner and nod your head is like killing me as a dancer. But
all of us.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hope being built up right now, I guess, and whatever comes my way, just auditioning. So,
Jonathan, maybe you can help answer a question that I think has plagued a lot of us for a long time. I heard that there's a lot of gay people in theater, in musical.
No, everyone's straight. Like,
All right, I've heard that, and I had to get an answer for once in my life to find out for sure.
Yeah,
Alicia,
it's the sequins that make it seem gay, but it's definitely
that's what it is. I think maybe that. Alicia.
That's funny. I just have a funny story because I started as a dancer too, and you just think that every guy is gay and they're not. And dancers, you like get naked backstage, like do quick changes, and I'm like naked, and apparently everyone is, the men are not all gay. I learned that. I was like, oh, whatever. But yeah, anyway, I'm in Los Angeles, and the pandemic has shut down most filming. We're slowly reopening. But before that, I was working on a web series called Girls Gone Mild, created by Gracie Strawn. We have a few episodes on YouTube, but I like it because it's just stories. They're basically sketches, like SNL style. And I love it because it's created by women. It's about women. And similar to when you have like shows and there's like a character from the LGBT community, and you can tell that it's written by someone that's like not in that community, and it's just not, it usually not, I don't want to say offensive, but maybe just not the most accurate, or it's like a portrayal of some sort. But I like it because it's written by women, so it's like actually, not that we're all the same, but it's more realistic to our thoughts and experiences, as opposed to being written by a man. Like, this is how women think, of course, you know, because this is how we think they act. Yeah, so that's what I was working on before, Girls Gone Mild. And hopefully when the pandemic's over, then we can go back to shooting and auditioning and all that good stuff.
I'm doing something called Boys Go Wild, and I was, yes, I'm getting people water in the,
yeah.
Joe, how about yourself?
I'm in Los Angeles too, so nothing's happening. I've got a horror short that should be out any day. I have a web series about a woman whose husband is dead, but she pretends he's not. Very Weekend at Bernie's. That's in the festival circuit right now, so that's cool. But the only audition I've had lately was I auditioned for Jeopardy this week.
Oh, way. And?
Well, I made it to the final round of auditions. You know, first you do the written test, then you do the online test, then you do the play against. So I made it all the way to that, and so now they said, we'll call you between tomorrow and 18 months from now.
So you're going to be the next Kenya Jennings, I guess, or something.
I would like to be called, Jen Kennings.
I love it. Josh?
I mean, as everyone says, there's nothing going on. I've been taking this time to write a lot. I just have finished up my pilot that I'm now submitting to different contests.
What's it about?
And Yanni's been doing a lot of writing too. Oh, mine is about an Orthodox Jewish gay guy. I grew up as an Orthodox Jew, so it's sort of based on my experience, but not actually my experience.
Okay. I was going to make a joke 2 seconds ago. I was going to say, all of us, you mean not all of us are Jewish white guys? And now look at that. I guess we are. I don't know. Chris Castine. Okay. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Did we get everybody?
Have we hit on everyone from I think we've got everyone here. So yeah, maybe the last.
Johnny.
Yes, please.
Oh, I've been writing as well. I'm finishing projects that I've had, you know, in the 12 years since the lockdown began, I've had time to sort of work on unfinished projects and prepare new ones. We're actually working on preparing to shoot a quarantine film, just the two of us. I'm going to do like 20 crew positions, and he's going to play 4 different characters. So that'll be interesting to shoot within this apartment. So, you know, stretching the creative muscles as much as we can.
Great. So I'll pass it on to the acts, and we'll hear, I guess, from Thomas, Electra, as well as Chris. What are you up to after this?
Well, yeah, like everyone said, it's I was filming. I do a lot of TV, and I was filming a lot of TV right up until literally the day that the UK went into lockdown. And yeah, got a couple of features that are in really early development, and we're also working on a
Yeah, I've equally been a little bit slow throughout quarantine. Now it seems it's easing off, but I managed to get an animation series for kids off the ground through lockdown, so that kept me a bit busy. And now I'm in financing stage for a feature, true story set in Belgium in 1990.
Well, great. Are you guys ready for a group picture?
Wait, no, we haven't had Chris
Oh,
yet.
I'm sorry. I
Oh
apologize.
no, I have so little to add to this part of the conversation. I was actually hoping that this was when Tom and Electra were about to tell me they just got a commission for me, but no such luck. I think I'm back to making bread.
Yeah. Mark, I think before we wrap things up, we do want to say a couple of announcements. Do you want to do the announcements first, or do you want to do a picture first, Mark? What do you?
Go ahead, do your announcements.
Okay, great. So, great. So just thank you for everyone first for joining, as well as our audience out there. Make sure that, you know, I know you loved our men's short program 1, but we have another men's short program. So the short program 1 is available for the next 4 days, and then shortly we'll be having program number 2. And I think, oh yes, and make sure that you, I think we put out the link here to make sure you follow and enjoy our our live Q&As. And we're certainly trying to build up our community. This has been like a really exciting, you know, talking about creativity and sort of having to reinvent yourselves in times of need. So and normally we would be doing these face-to-face, but I think it's been a really amazing opportunity, and our staff has done an awesome job of sort of blowing out our sort of social media and sort of these other avenues of connecting with our audiences. So everyone out there, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and share with your friends, filmmakers, and everyone, all the like. We want to keep building out the family. So with that, Mark, anything else before we take a...
Yeah, well, you know, we've got a lot of days left, a lot of movies left every single day of the week. Closing night next Sunday with our closing night awards party. Every one of these shorts, I hope you voted for them. I'm not sure if there's a way to go back if you haven't voted for them, but these guys will be getting in one of these groups of shorts will be getting an award for best jury short as well as best audience short. So thank you all so much for being with us, giving us your wonderful talents and allowing us to bring it to our Florida community. Chris Vastine, always a pleasure to host with you. Everybody, have a great night. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mark Gilbert, for always having a good time. And thanks to all the talent and then everyone out there. So picture time. All right, we can take a picture.
Ready, and everybody smile, 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 smile. Big smiles, everybody. Ready, and 1, 2, 3. All right, hearts up, put your hearts up. Everybody say love, hearts up, hearts up. Ready, and 1, 2, 3. And last one, silly face, pandemic, crazy, gone wild face. All right, and ready, and 1, 2, 3. All right, you're great. Thanks, guys.
Good night, everybody.
All right, good night.
With us.
Thank you all. It was a treat.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Bye, everyone.